Hello and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gaming World. So on today's episode we're going to look at a new Saturn peripheral that I've picked up. And you may already be able to hear what this peripheral relates to. There's a game running on the screen. You can't see it very well because it's obviously a CRT television. But that game, Space Harrier, so what better way to play Space Harrier than using one of these? So this is called the Sega Saturn Mission Stick, and this is a flight stick peripheral for the Sega Saturn. So I ordered this from Spain through eBay, and it came really quick. I was very impressed actually how quickly this arrived, and it works perfectly. So it's really great fun. It really gives you a proper arcade experience. So I'm not going to be able to play this very well at all with one hand, because I'm not very good at Space Harrier at the best of times, but as you can see. Now the weird thing about this is I usually play with inverted controls, but as default Space Harrier is not set up to work like that. Afterburner is. And how I'm playing this game, I'll just pause it now. How I'm playing this one is through the Sega Ages collection. So this is volume 1. We never got any more volumes here in the UK, but over in Japan tons of classic games were re-released on the Sega Saturn. They bundled together a few of these and released them in PAL territories as Sega Ages volume 1. So that includes, as you can see there, Space Harrier, Afterburner and Outrun. I've also got the wheel for the Sega Saturn, so that's a great peripheral to use with Outrun, of course. So really happy about getting the Mission Stick. Most of these you see on eBay, at least recently that I've seen, have been the Japanese variant, which of course is the grey colours, which of course the Sega Saturn console in Japan is grey. This is the PAL one. The first Sega Saturn I ever owned was the grey one. Great import Japanese one, because really if you want to play Saturn games and you have the specific taste that I have, which are mostly fighting games, then just get a Japanese Saturn. It's pretty easy, step down converter, and the games are cheap, and there's a lot more fighting games on the Saturn, even shooting games, you find shooters as well. Then a Japanese Saturn will play all those games. But I've been getting more into the PAL games lately, so I wanted to create a small collection of PAL games. So I've got Virtua Fighter, and also a surprisingly fun football game called International Victory Goal. It's really good, it's really simple. All the players are actually sprites and the background 3D. I think you get 3D players when you do penalties by the looks of that, but I haven't done a penalty on it yet. But it's easy to play, it's a very accessible football game. Very solid, very enjoyable, good fun. Also, Winter Heat is another game I picked up. This is a Winter Olympics game, so it involves a lot of button bashing, which is something I'm not usually a fan of, but it's certainly very arcade in its presentation and fun. I liked all the fun characters in it, so I want to give this more of a go, but it's not the kind of game you sit and play on your own, and probably a good one to use with the arcade stick, and I'm pretty sure I've got the Saturn arcade stick somewhere. So they're my recent Sega Saturn pickups, all reasonably affordable, although Sega Ages Volume 1 cost me a little bit more than usual. So what else have I got? Well, I have a few other games that I've picked up recently, one of them being, this is Cosmic Carnage. Now Cosmic Carnage is a Sega 32X game, as you can see there, and it's okay, it's a fighting game, but the most impressive thing about it is the graphics. It does similar things to Knuckles Chaotix, and you have great scaling sprites moving in and out of the foreground and background, and it really looks the part. It's a lot of fun in small doses. It's not a great fighting game, but being a fighting game fan, I thought, well, I've got to try out Cosmic Carnage. I had to look at the name then, or Cyber Brawl as it's known in Japan. I did get a couple of Xbox games recently, very cheap. Deadly Skies, which is actually, as I found out later, Deadly Skies 2. The original Deadly Skies was released on the Dreamcast. I'm not sure if it was on any other systems, but this is a sequel to that. It's a different title. I think the whole series is a different title in Japan, just I can't remember what it is. So that's cool. That's a modern playing game for the Xbox, something I don't have. And the other game, something I first saw in Denmark ages ago. And it's an Xbox exclusive party game type thing called Whacked. Now I've yet to play this because my Xbox isn't all connected yet, but it's a quiz show with a series of mini games and some crazy looking characters, and again cheap. All these games are picked up from CX, which, you know, it can be pretty good for prices. This was definitely the cheapest copy of Whacked I could find, complete with the manual. That unfortunately isn't always something you know when ordering, or maybe it is. I think some things will say complete boxed. I don't think they specify whether or not it has a manual in it, because unfortunately Deadly Skies didn't have the manual, but it was only £3. They always charge, I think, £1.50 or just below for postage, so you've got to factor that into the equation. But if you've not got these games in your local CX, or you're not seeing them, then you can, you know, order online. Now we're back in the more modern gaming room, and I have some news about my Knuckles Chaotix box. If you do remember, I got a loose copy of the game Knuckles Chaotix for the Sega 32X, and I ordered a replacement case, a reproduction replacement case for it, but unfortunately it was a DVD size case, so it couldn't hold the cartridge. Luckily, after getting in contact with the seller on eBay, they offered me a free replacement, and eventually, well actually very quickly, the day after this turned up. It's what they call a multi-format box, and if you open it up, the cartridge falls out because it doesn't hold the 32X cartridge very well, unfortunately, but it does hold it in. So if I turn this upside down, yep, it falls out. So that's unfortunate. So, you know, I'm happy with that. I like the printing, it's a good quality print. It's the American box art which I requested. So, not too bad. So the latest new game that I purchased, actually a very new release, is Guilty Gear 20th Anniversary Pack. So you may have already seen the unboxing of that I did for Blast Process. Of course, when I did the unboxing, I hadn't played the game yet, so since then I've been able to play the game a little bit, and I thought what I'd do is show you the games in action so you can see exactly what they look like and how they're presented on the Nintendo Switch. So this is how the games appear when you have the cartridge into your Nintendo Switch. It's two separate games, so there's not a main menu where you select them both like I thought. So you just choose which one you want to play. We'll go for the original Guilty Gear first. Now this is a straight port, you'll be able to see this straight away. Nothing's really been done to, other than you've got things like it's saying 30th anniversary there. You'll see it's pretty bare bones when we get stuck into it. The game just starts, and of course in lovely resolution as you would expect from a PS1 game. The options mode does bring up this, which is of course a little bit different. It's high resolution menu, of course, where you can adjust all the game settings. Now here's some of the, I don't know what a frame does, that's interesting. Colour setting, sorry, controller settings, I apologise. Display settings, so you can turn off the side panels if you just would prefer to have black borders, which for me I always find that preferable. You can listen to the background music, which is pretty nice. Save and load, how to play, so here is basically what you'd get in a normal instruction book telling you what you see on the game screen, and then controls, shows you there the Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip. And finally credits, which is high resolution credits from the game. So that's the new stuff basically. Otherwise it's Guilty Gear. So if we just jump straight in, you can see here are all the original characters in the first game. One of my favourites is Kai or Key. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. And it loads really fast. I mean, that's a great aspect here of course, this version of the game. I can't remember the controls now. I'm going to look really terrible at Guilty Gear for just a moment. But I enjoy it. I remember playing Guilty Gear back on the PS1 and getting up to the final boss. And I don't remember if I ever beat him, in all honesty. But I still like this first game. I think it was really impressive for the time. And yeah, it should have been a little bit more successful, this first entry in the series. Of course, it wasn't until Guilty Gear X that the series really blew up and became super popular. But there's so much to appreciate in this game. It really great 2D graphics, great animation, and a fun fighting system. So yeah, that's what you can expect from the original Guilty Gear on Switch. And now we move on to Accent Core. Or to give it its full title, Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. Wow, what a mouthful. Now, Accent Core Plus was released on many consoles actually, including the Wii. I think that's the last version of the game I have up until getting this one. So, similar thing to original Guilty Gear, you've got these borders on the sides. What struck me actually upon first playing this was that the resolution of this opening video was quite low. I would have thought they would have maybe done this in a higher resolution perhaps. In fact, the whole game does seem incredibly low resolution, aside from this title screen here. But maybe that's just how the game looks. So just the one that sticks in my mind, the Guilty Gear X sticks in my mind, was the Dreamcast version, which had very sharp graphics. Anyway, help and options. So, oops, yeah, you have to get used to the fact that A is not selected in this game, it's B. I really don't like it when Nintendo games do that. Because when you play Nintendo, you tune your brain to pressing A to select stuff, and not normally where you press A or X on the PlayStation or Xbox pad. Game settings and stuff, yeah, it's in keeping with the overall graphical style of the what's back? That's a question. Yeah. Of the game here, so it doesn't feel out of place. This new menu. Well, it's probably not even a new menu. It's probably very similar to Phase Back, to the menu on the original game, but I can't quite remember how to play. So you're getting the same how to play option. Let's just check that. Yeah, this is similar to what you got on the original Guilty Gear as well. Anyway, moving along. Let's see how high resolution the gallery stuff is. We've got Special Illustration 1. We can check that one out. Yeah, as you can see, not really very high res here. And I think that's a real shame that this game's running in such a low resolution. However, how does it play? And that's the main point. So if we jump into, let's find an easy mode, arcade mode. I say easy mode, one that can show you the gameplay easiest. So again, we'll go with Key or Kai or whatever his name is. B to select him. And of course, as far from X onwards, he has some new moves and stuff. So I do like playing as the X version of this character the most. I mean, I think in game it looks good because it is pixels, and maybe we just get used to how sharp games look nowadays. But I think the X series certainly plays the best, as good as the original was. There's something about. Of course, I can't quite get to grips with all the new mechanics. I mean, X introduces some new things, some new characters. And then this version, XX Accent Core Plus R, introduces even more. So I can't hear you the differences, but it plays really well. So if you want a version of this game on Switch, plus getting the original game as well, then this, is pretty good. But the question is it worth, what, £35, which is what I paid for it. Of course, it come with the art book, but the art book wasn't particularly amazing. So yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed that quick look at Guilty Gear 20th anniversary pack for the Switch. 35 quid is a bit steep, maybe wait for it to come down in price. Let's hope it doesn't become one of those obscure games which is going to get difficult to get hold of. I don't know if it's going to receive another release where perhaps it doesn't come with the art book. That would be a cheaper way to manufacture it. But I think this game's going to be okay to get hold of for a while. I guess more of the question is, will it retain its value, or will it, become a little bit cheaper? Maybe wait on it, but if you really love Guilty Gear, you'll probably do like I've done and just pick it up on release. So that's it for this episode of Tom's Gaming World. Really hope you've enjoyed it. And at this point I'll mention that there might not be so many more of these coming for a little while, because I won't have access to this setup, and I won't probably be picking up many new games. So this is probably going to get put on the back burner for a while, but there will still be content coming from Blast Process, so do still keep your eye on the channel. You just won't see any Tom's Gaming World videos for a little while, but they'll be back before you know it. So thanks again for taking the time to watch this video, and please do subscribe to the channel and like the videos. It really does go a long way to help us reach more people. So thanks again, and until I see you again, game on!